Oremi, Caro, multideo, multide. Buenos días, mi amigo. Estoy aquí. Good morning, friends. I'm here. I'm back. Yes. Welcome, everyone, to the Immigrant Whisperer podcast. I'm your hostess, Dr. Janet Awokoya. Let's continue reading page 54 of the article, Demystifying Cultural Theories and Practices, Locating Black Immigrant Experiences in Teacher Education Research, co-authored by Janet Tolulope Awokoya and Christine Clark. Their cultures, be those projections overly simplistically constructive and or destructive, or more robustly and necessarily complex, and thus more accurate. Benefits of CRT. Critical race theory, CRT, is an important construct for understanding Black immigrants who have made the United States their home. First, it sheds light on the fact that Black immigrants are racialized as Black in the United States and are therefore subjected to the same racial prejudices and discrimination as their native Black counterparts. Several significant news reports that reveal the victimization of Black immigrants in the same manner of that as Black Americans substantiate this claim. For example, Sofia Salva, a Sudanese woman in Kansas City, was pulled over during a routine traffic stop, arguably for, quote, driving while Black, end quote, DWB, and subsequently arrested. While in custody, she became medically distressed, repeatedly asked for medical attention, which she was denied, and eventually suffered a miscarriage. Radin, 1999. In New York City, Amadou Diallo, a Guinean immigrant, was shot 51 times in front of his home by 4 police officers who allegedly mistook his wallet for a gun. In 1997, Abner Louima, a Haitian native, was sodomized with a toilet plunger by police officers while in custody. These and numerous other examples reveal the fact that race is more central to how individuals and institutions in the United States, in particular, address and react to Black immigrants, those racialized as Black despite their varied self-identification on the basis of nationality, ethnicity, language, and other cultural signifiers, and Black Americans, those for whom Blackness as an identity signifier has organic significance. CRT also acts as a vehicle through which the voices of those victimized, as described above, can be heard in a counter hegemonic fashion. CRT legitimizes the reality of the victimized oppression by using policy and law to share their experiences with the greater public to elicit outrage and thus ultimately to bring about social change. Sofia Salva filed a lawsuit against her two arresting officers and the Kansas City Police Department for personal injuries and the wrongful death of her unborn baby. Amadou Diallo's murder spurred the development of an anti-racial profiling policy in New York City. Abner Louima's rape and torture led to the quote, day of outrage against police brutality and harassment, end quote, demonstration in New York City, Carl and Tyre, 1997, and was cited as an example of institutional human rights violation in the United States in the 1998 Amnesty International Report for Human Rights, Amnesty International 2000. The accumulation of tragic cases such as these has resulted in important dialogue within the Black immigrant population in the United States and globally regarding the impact race and racism has on those labeled Black in the United States, and thus the urgent need for pan-Black solidarity and action to bring about social justice. Conclusion. Clearly, each of these theories, cultural ecological theory, CET, culture-centered theory, CCT, and critical race theory, CRT, have contributed to the ways in which the social and environmental experiences of Black immigrants in the United States are examined and understood. In sum, CET provides a conceptual grounding from which rich data concerning the social and educational experiences of Black immigrant youth in North America's schools can emerge. CCT uses educational scholars and practitioners to match the curriculum and pedagogy with students' cultures in order to improve educational performance. And by foregrounding race, CRT reveals the devastating impact racism has on the lives of people of color, especially those raced as Black in the United States. Limitations. Though critical ecological theory, CET, culture-centered theory, CCT, and critical race theory, CRT, each offer insight into various aspects of Black immigrant life in the United States. They are also limited by the degree to which they have focused on and thus can be applied to understand the experiences of Black immigrant youth in U.S. schools. These limitations will now be discussed. Limitations of CET. While cultural ecological theory, CET, provides a provocative springboard for scholars to discuss minority students' educational experiences, it has also generated a significant body of criticism. One area of this criticism focuses on the voluntary immigrant and involuntary immigrant constructs. The criticism here argues that these constructs project an erroneously monolithic view of the groups included in each construct, which has led to the tendency to oversimplify the immigrant and or minority experiences that subgroup and individual members of both larger groups have had. Bashi and McDaniel, 1997, Foster, 2004, Martin, 2000. Clearly, significant differences exist between all individuals in terms of historical trajectories, ages, age at immigration, racial and ethnic identities, cultural traditions, adherence to cultural traditions, socioeconomic class background, gender, gender identity and expression, parents' education level, political affiliation, and amount of social interactions with like and different peers. Lee et al., 1990. Valenzuela. 1999. Waters, 1999. Yet, despite these obvious differences embedded in the CET framework, is an assumption that the construct voluntary or involuntary into which a student falls determines how that student, as well as all of the other members of her or his entire construct group, will socially adapt and approach education. These constructs obscure a student's and a group's agency and discount the capacity of both to resist or adopt the particular attitudes and behaviors associated with each construct. Noguera, 2001. Another area of criticism related to CET pertains to its lack of attention to interracial and intraracial relations between and among voluntary and involuntary groups as a whole, the minority groups included in both in particular, and its over-attentive focus on these minority groups' relations to the white majority. While the comparison between the white majority group and the various voluntary and involuntary minority groups can be useful in examining the significant differences each of the latter groups have toward the former one, the comparison does not address the fettering discord that is occurring within and among the latter groups, independent of their individual and collective relationship to the former group. Jackson and Cochran, 2003. Waters, 1999. For example, while the relationship between immigrant Blacks and Black Americans is superficially addressed, and in so being is perhaps overstated as only contentious in various academic and political circles, Jackson and Cochran, 2003, Traore and Lukens, 2006, there appears to be a reluctance to deeply characterize this relationship and more importantly, to develop practical strategies for building pan-Black community in rigorous research communities. A final area of criticism of CET poor, and we will stop here for today's reading, and we'll pick up on page 55 tomorrow. Please like and comment below. Tell me how you are experiencing the reading. Until next time, peace.